And welcome everyone to another Reality Skewed Gamers video. I am Finity, and today we are actually remodding Spaceman Tim's 5 characters. So if you didn't catch it yesterday, I did the first of the modding. And why am I doing these moddings with our great fans here? We are trying to raise money to go to Orlando for a charity run. So if you look in the description of the video, you'll see a GoFundMe that will help us get to Orlando so we can do this charity run. We have made, and this is just a little bit of information for you guys if you're interested. We've had some discussions with a couple of charities here, and we have hopefully some exciting news for you coming in the next couple weeks here as we finalize kind of as many plans as we can. But with that being said, we need help getting to Orlando. And so we have the GoFundMe there available if you guys are able to help us. And if you donate $25, I will help you remod 5 characters of your choice. And so yesterday I did the modding of 5 characters with Walter Arnold. And I accidentally called him Spaceman Tim. So that's something that I will never be able to live down. I apologize. And so today we are actually doing the modding of Spaceman Tim. Spaceman Tim, say hi to the peoples.
Hey, Finity, how are you? Yeah, no heart attacks today. I was prepared.
Yeah, he got a notification saying that I was remodding his roster, and he was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I was in a meeting, and I went, he told me he was going to set this up, and then all of a sudden it says, remodding Spaceman Tim, and I went, oh, shit, he's going to do this on his own. Well, this is going to be interesting. I'll watch it later, I guess.
Yeah, no, that was just me failing epically. Just all kinds of fails.
Well, as long as Ranger doesn't know, you're fine.
So we are remodding Spaceman Tim's 5 characters. If you didn't see it yesterday, and again, if you donate $25 to our GoFundMe, I will help you remod. We do need the help with getting all of that together, and we have really big aspirations here for what we can do in April for this fundraiser. So again, we want to make sure that we can secure the travel there, so any and all help is appreciated. So with Spaceman Tim, let's start out with what we need first. What characters do you want to mod?
Okay, so yesterday you did 5 arena characters, and so today I thought I would do heroic Sith grade characters. My guild's getting ready to start a run here in 2 weeks, so I want to make sure 4 of the keys are taken care of. So I'd like to look at Raid Han, Asajj Ventress, Mother Talzin, Grandmaster Yoda, and then I started using Nest in Arena for the last week or so since I got the Zeta on her, and I want to make sure I've got her modded correctly. I know speed is important, and I've done some of the speed work on her, but let's make sure that I've got her maximized to the best of my mod's abilities.
Okay, so repeat those for me again. Han, Asajj Ventress, Grandmaster Yoda, who else?
Mother Talzin, and then Nest.
And Nest. Okay, so first thing to ask, so Han, you're looking at Chex Mix, right?
Yep.
Asajj Ventress, are you looking for Phase 3 or Phase 4?
I think my guild's going to probably need me to do Phase 4.
Okay.
But not really knowing exactly where everyone's going to fall out. That's why I asked for Mother Talzin as well.
Okay. And so she's potentially also Phase 4.
But Mother Talzin doesn't have any, but I'll have the Zeta by like Monday next week. So if we need to, we can always Zeta her. Same with Grandmaster Yoda if need be.
She has no Zetas, your Talzin?
Yeah, Talzin has no, because mostly what I've been doing with my Night Sisters has been Asajj lead.
Okay, so I will tell you right now, you are not using your Night Sisters in Phase 3. For Phase 3, your Night Sisters, you need not only a Zeta on Mother Talzin's lead, but you really need one on her unique as well. It's not as necessary, but her unique is actually better than her lead. And if you don't have Mother Talzin lead, then you're not going to be able to actually do the Phase 3.
So that turns into 2.
Right, so you're just looking at Phase 4 then.
Yeah, well then let's take Mother Talzin off the list, and we'll throw Thrawn up there then instead. Okay. Since I use him in Arena, we can balance Thrawn and Nest against each other.
Okay, so we'll go with Thrawn instead. Okay, and Thrawn, you're looking for phase 2, right?
Yeah, phase 2, but I also use Thrawn. Like you can see
In
it on the
arena.
screen, Thrawn in my arena as well.
Okay. So we'll need to keep that in consideration. Although he's pretty much the same, he's going to be pretty much speed. So he's going to be fairly easy. Nest is arena, right? And you were just looking at some place to use her in Heroic Sith?
Yeah, I'm working on starting her up as fast as I can. Obviously, it's a grind with the single hard node, but we should have her 5-star by the end of the week, and we'll keep chugging away on her. So I know I can't use her in Sith Raid at first, but...
Okay. And then Grandmaster Yoda, what were you thinking with him?
I may have to do some cleanup work in P1. So he was actually my consideration for my next Zeta. I was going to put it on his leadership just for the raid, or his battle meditation. I see that maybe being a better long-term one. And so either or with those two. Okay,
so you're thinking about phase 1 Heroic Sith Raid.
Yeah, like a cleanup. Come in, pick up whatever's left. Because I've seen the Yodalicious team.
Right. Okay. So you're looking at specifically then the Yodalicious team and trying to set that up. Okay. Fair enough. So we have to make sure that we look at the different group compositions, right? So let's start there first while you have your characters here. Let me write that as phase 1, Yodalicious. So let's look at each character kind of individually. So Chex Mix is going to be CLS, Han, Chirrut, then you have Death Trooper, and then you either have Pow, who's preferred, or Jedi Knight Anakin. Your problem is going to be Anakin. Well, no, you can go without Anakin in phase 1. He is part of the standard Yodalicious team.
So, I've got a 7-star Gear 8 POW.
Okay,
so I
perfect.
Can get away with it.
Good. That was going to be my question as to where your POW is. But if your POW is 7-star, then yeah, we're not worried about Jedi Knight Anakin, so we're just going to focus on POW. So that leads us then to the Yodalicious team. So that's going to be Grandmaster Yoda lead with Hermit Yoda, Jedi Knight.
I gotta update it, but he's 6-star. So
you're Hermit Yoda?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to work on that a little bit.
Yep.
Hermit Yoda, Jedi Knight Anakin, Barriss, and Ezra. And again, there's a little bit of variation you can have here. You can also put in Visas Mar potentially as well. I'm assuming your Visas is not 7-star.
No.
Okay, so we'll focus on this as your Yodalicious team. Then Thrawn in phase 2. We'll have to take a look at your characters here. So we go to your characters. Do you have Wampa?
No, I don't have Wampa. He's kind of the missing thing.
Okay, so your phase 2 team, you're looking at a Princess Leia team.
Yeah, probably Machine Gun Leia.
Okay, so then if we're going with Machine Gun Leia, the team we're looking at is going to be Akbar, lead.
Who I think is Gear 9. Leia's Gear 11.
Okay. We want Hermit Yoda, Thrawn, and GK. Okay. And then Nest is just going to be for Arena. Okay, so these are the 5 characters we are going to be focusing on. All right. Any preference on which one we start with?
Nope, none at all. Go with what your inner porg tells you.
So my inner porg, although it's for the Heroic Sith Raid that you're focusing a lot on, I would start with Nest.
Okay.
Nest has a high base speed. The only question is your Thrawn. Does he have Gear 12 plus mats on him?
No Gear 12 plus, but he does have all 3 Gear 12, the original 3 Gear 12 pieces.
Okay. The reason I ask is because if he had the Gear 12 plus pieces and your Enfys is not 7-star yet, your Enfys is actually going to have a lower base speed than your Thrawn. But if you don't have Gear 12 plus pieces on Thrawn, then Thrawn is going to be slower and Nest is going to be faster. And I do want to focus on Arena first. and getting your certain characters as fast as possible is always important. And so I would focus on getting your Nest to be your fastest character, with Thrawn being your second fastest. And so I would say let's start off with Thrawn, and we'll do let's do Nest first and then Thrawn second. And then we can go to Han. Is going to be a little bit different because we're not going to mod him for speed. We'll go through that. So Han we can save for last because he's not really going to overlap with anyone. Grandmaster Yoda, you're going to want to get pretty fast in order to kind of just get more damage output. And there's different ways that you can do the Yodelicious team a little bit. So I'm going to say we'll do him after. We'll do Grandmaster Yoda after. And then we'll look at Asajj Ventress fourth. Sound good?
Okay. Yep, that works for me.
All right. So I will need your help with in-game, because we will need to make sure that we know kind of what's going on with your mods that are not equipped. Right, so not equipped mods is what we're going to need your help with.
I equipped every mod I had this morning.
And did you update your GG page with it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you have no mods that are not modded on a character.
Oh, I have one health circle that's got 4 speed, so we don't need to worry about it.
No, so we do not need to worry about that. All right, simple enough. Okay, so let's start out with a new page. And we are going to start out with Enfys Nest. All right, so we're going to do our little diagram here of insanity. And so we're going to do box and box. We're going to do speed. We're going to do non-speed over here. First thing I'm going to do, go to your mods and just filter by speed sets. I want to see how many, and speed secondary, so I'm not doing any position, and I just want to see how many speed mods you have. And your first page definitely starts to go down quickly. So when I'm trying to optimize your speed, when I do non-speed, I will not include speed on here. So I'm just going to put a little XS, meaning that I'm going to not, so for the X, include speed secondaries or speed sets, because you don't have a lot of speed sets. So I'm going to try and conserve those for additional speed sets. So if we do start off with the square, and if at any point I lose you, let me know. So okay. I'm going to start out with the square, speed set, speed secondaries. And your fastest one is a 17 on Enfys. So far, it is looking good. So we have a 17.
I do pay attention.
Yes.
When everyone tells people how to mod.
We will put that to the test here. So next one is going to be your diamond. And your fastest diamond is a 14 on Enfys. Okay. So 14 on Enfys. Then we're going to go to your triangle.
And Finn, one thing that I struggle with is going beyond speed. Is which other additional secondary stats make the most sense on like Thrawn versus Enfys? It's easy to mod it for just straight speed and figure out what works best there, but it's balancing out the secondaries. Okay,
so if we look at additional secondaries, right? So let's say a couple of them are tied with the same speed. So let's just suppose there's another one tied with 14 speed, right? First, it depends on whether you're left column or right column, because right column, except for the arrow, you also want to check out the primaries. Both of them, Enfys and Thrawn, are looking for additional survival potentially. Thrawn, for sure, you're going to want survival. So you're looking health, and you're looking protection in particular. You can go for defense. Defense obviously isn't a huge stat. They've improved it. Thrawn isn't a character that gets a huge benefit out of it. I would still focus on protection and health. And the reason I include protection is because Thrawn is a character that can recover protection himself when he does his turn meter swap. And so, with Thrawn, you're definitely doing protection and health. Enfys, you're not doing protection. You're going to definitely focus health. So if you weren't aware, the protection up that Enfys Nest gets is actually based on her max health. So more health means that she's actually gaining more protection when she's hit. It also means that her health pool is larger, which means that when she comes out of her turn, if she's able to heal back to full with her counterattacks, then her health is a lot higher, so she can take a bigger burst of damage and not die, compared to other characters. Or if she didn't have all that health, right?
I'm still getting used to using Emphas. I've only had her in the arena for about a week now. So okay. I took my Darth Vader out and put Emphas Nest in, and I have seen that on defense I do hold a lot better. Mm-hmm. Whereas, because I tend to float in like that 50 to 100 range, and when I had Vader in, I was falling down to the 110, 120 range, and I have to battle back up. With Nest, I've fallen outside of the top 100 now for the last week. So I have seen a remarkable difference in defense as far as Nest is concerned.
Yeah, and if you get a fast Nest, so your goal is to try and get Nest to go first out of anyone on the field. And the reason is that Nest will do an AoE turn meter reduction and basically remove turn meter from everyone, along with Daze. So if you're facing the Sith team, they're not gaining any turn meter anymore. More effective against a Palpatine lead, but even against a Traya lead, the opposing Nihilus is not going to be gaining turn meter from the debuffs that are falling upon Scion. And so Nest is critical to try and get to go first, and that's why we focus heavily on her speed. But if you're looking at another potential way to mod her, you're looking for high health, and you're also looking for just the regular kind of damage ones. So you can look for critical damage, you can look for offense primaries, critical damage primary on the triangle, like those kind of things you can look for with Enfys. She can also benefit from potency because she does turn meter removal, she does stuns. She's fairly useful with a little bit of additional potency. I wouldn't focus on it. Obviously, the main thing with her is speed and is greater than everything else.
Okay, so if health's the focus, then I have my mods swapped between... Well, we'll get to Thrawn, but when you look at Thrawn's Circle and Thrawn's Cross, I have a health speed set Circle and a health speed set Cross on him that have speed secondaries. So, I mean, we'll get there. I know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the speed is, right? Because getting Enfys to go first is your most important thing right now. So... If we look at your Circle, your fastest speed set Speed Circle is a 14 speed on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then if we look at your Cross, your fastest Cross is a 16 speed on Thrawn. Okay, so we have a 16 speed on Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now we'll take a look at your arrows. I'm sure you have a bunch of speed primary arrows.
Yeah, and I tend to use the arrows more so to balance out like the second, just balance out set bonuses.
Right. So one of the better ones to use is the speed arrow on these characters because it's the one where you're not going to lose speed. Where in general your speed is going to be a little bit lower on the other mods, on your speed set compared to other mods in that location. So let's just take a look to see if you have any health primary. So what I would do for your Enfys is in the arrow mod, I would use the arrow mod that's currently sitting on Kylo Ren Unmasked. It has a high health, it has a percentage health, which means that your Enfys is going to be gaining more health. It also has plus 46 offense, so nice flat offense. It's only a single roll, but I mean, offense is offense.
Right, with it being blue, I've got 2 more rolls to slice.
Exactly.
It.
And so you have a chance of increasing the health, and you have a chance of increasing the offense. So 50% chance of raising a decent one. So I would.
Doesn't the one on Chirrut make a little bit more sense? It's got a higher percentage plus some crit chance plus a percentage offense.
So percentage offense is actually worse than flat offense.
Even balancing that out against the crit chance and the higher health percentage.
So you can go with crit chance if you want. So it's kind of up to you. The reason why I'm picking the one on Kylo Ren, it has a better health percent, but it's obviously health percent is kind of a weakish stat. So let's compare here just for a second. You have about a 1% difference in health, right? Let's go to your Enfys. I think it's easier to go through your profile. Okay, and so your health on your Enfys Nest is 61, almost 16,200, and you're gaining about 2,300 from mods, right? So let's just round it out, just simplify to 2,200. So your total health is about 14,000 on your Enfys, right?
So 1%.
So 1% is 140 health. Your crew mod, right, has I think it was 70 health more. So let's just compare.
So
here.
it basically mitigates it.
So it mitigates it to some extent.
You get a little bit more with the crew.
Right, and you get the extra attempt at rolls, right? So crew has 54 extra speed, or extra health, right? So he has 54 health. So in total, you lose a total of about 50 health here. The flat offense is definitely better than the percent offense. Critical chance is really nice. It's better than the defense, but you have 2 rolls on the Kylo Ren one. And so if you increase the offense or if you increase the health, I think both of them end up make the mod better than the True Root one.
Okay.
It's not that the True Root one isn't close, don't get me wrong. But it's not at the point where I would say, like, I think I would gamble a little bit. It's not a huge gamble, but I think I would gamble on the crew one just because it has a chance to be sliced up twice.
Okay, that works.
So that would be your speed set. Now we're going to do your non-speed set. So what we'll do is check off every set except for health. But rather than doing that, I'm just going to ignore the speed set. If it shows up first. So instead of checking off all the sets except for speed, I'm going to just leave everything unchecked. So it's going to select all mod sets and just go one by one through the different mods. So starting off with the square with all sets selected and speed secondary. And your fastest one is a 17 on Enfys, which is a speed set, so I'm ignoring that. Your next one is a 13 speed on Nihilus, which is a speed set, so I'm ignoring that. Your next one is a 13 critical chance on CLS. So I'm going to put 13 CLS and critical chance. We'll come back to the arrow. Let's go to your diamond next. And with your diamond, your first one is a 14 speed set. We're ignoring that. Next one is another 14 speed set. We're going to ignore that. Then you have a few 13s. So you have, and I would go definitely with the ones with the health, simply because they're blue also. And so you have a chance at additional rolls. And the one on Asajj Ventress actually has health and potency. So I think that one may be better on Nest if we go with that one. So I'll say your diamond, your best one is a Asajj Ventress, and it is a health set. We'll then look at your triangle. First one is not a speed, and it's a 21 or speed set, and it's a 21 speed. That's on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And it's a tenacity, so let me make sure I write little tenacity T. We'll go to your circle. Your fastest circle is an 18 speed on Scion. That's a tenacity. And then lastly, not lastly, we have to do the arrow, but if we go to the cross, the plus sign, you have a 17 speed on Enfys. That's a potency. Okay?
Yep.
And I'm going to assume that you have other 30 arrows, but I'm going to ignore that, and you'll kind of see why here in a second. But what I'll do next is then draw another diagram. And I'll do the subtraction from each spot. So in the first one, it's actually a +4, a 0, a +1, -7, -4, -1. Right, so I'm doing the speed minus the non-speed in each of these different boxes. And then the next thing I'm going to do is find the 4 highest values. So you have the +4, the +1, the 0, and the -1. So in total, that ends up being 4 plus 1 minus 1 equals 4. So by using your speed set, you actually gain 4 speed. But that is also excluding your speed bonus that you get from the speed set itself, right? So if you look at also the speed set that you'll get in terms of a bonus, Enfys's base speed is 277. She currently has 118 speed, which makes her speed 159 right now as a base. And I'm trying to see if she has any gear on that gives her speed. I do not believe she has any gear that gives her speed, which means that the 10% is going to add 15 speed. And so using the speed set is actually going to give a total of 19 speed to your Enfys. Okay, so we do want to use the speed set, and we'll have 2 non-speed set, which actually do match up to tenacity. So what you will end up having is your square will be your Enfys, which is fine. Your arrow will be your crew, which again, it just helps with the secondaries, just to kind of balance it out. The diamond will stay Enfys Nest. Your triangle will actually come from Grand Admiral Thrawn. Your circle will come from Scion. And your cross is going to come from Grand Admiral Thrawn. And so just kind of looking at this here in general, I don't know what your Enfys has. So your Enfys has a 15 speed currently in that circle. So with the Scion mod, she's actually going to gain 3 speed there. She's going to lose 1 speed in the cross, but she's going to gain 7 in the triangle. And so in total, your Enfys should gain 9 speed from where she is. So she should be a 286 speed, I think, once you remod.
Where did you say the diamond came from? Sorry.
The diamond is going to stay from Enfys.
Okay.
So I'll actually add that to our final diagram, and I'm going to try and do this correctly from the beginning. All right, so it's going to look like a little bit of a mess at the beginning, but if we start here, we're going to start with Enfys Nest, right? And so we're going to do her modding. And so she's getting her square from Enfys Nest, her diamond from Enfys Nest, her circle from Scion, her plus mod from Grand Admiral Thrawn, her triangle from Grand Admiral Thrawn, and her arrow from Kylo Ren Unmasked. So if I hide this, there we go. So we have our first modded character. Hey Slash Fan Roads, hey Takedown Games, hey Vigilant Sentinel, hey JVU428 Grim, hey Vito Anto. Trying to catch up on chat here. I have it open, so I'm watching, but yeah. Okay. So there you go. So any questions on Enfys?
Nope. I got it all written down.
All right. So then the next one, which we'll move to, so let me create a new layer. Let me do this correctly here. Let me see if I can do this way. So if I duplicate.
Can you message these to me, or do I need to write them all down as I go?
It'll be all screenshotted on the stream at the end.
Okay.
I'm doing I'm making one sheet that I'll kind of make live at the end. So if you'll see it on the stream here in a second, but I'm kind of putting together all of the remods on one page, and I'll just have that up at the end, so you'll be able to see where all the mods are coming from.
All right, that works.
Okay. So next up we have Thrawn. Now Thrawn is going to be essentially the same. We are going to focus on speed. And the only real difference is that now, as we're looking at speed, we're going to exclude the mods that we already have assigned to Enfys. So we're going to do, again, speed. We're going to do non-speed. And let's see what mods you have. So if we then, let's go to your mods page. Oh, and yeah, I'll make it full screen next time so everyone can see it after we're done with Thrawn. So let's start with your square, speed set, speed secondaries. We know, blueprints up, the Enfys Nest one is currently being used. And so your fastest speed set, speed secondary is actually a 13. There's one on Nihilus, and there's one on Thrawn. And I'm fine with you keeping the one on Thrawn, so I'm just going to write Grand Admiral Thrawn here. Then we're going to go to your diamond. And if we look at your diamond, we're using the one on Enfys, which is 14 speed, but you also have another 14 on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And so we're going to focus on Grand Admiral Thrawn. Next up, we have your triangle. Triangle, let's take a look at what we're using, and I think we're using the one on Thrawn, so actually you can have the one that's currently on Enfys listed as your fastest speed set. Then we're going to go with your circle. If we look at your circle, we are using the one that's currently on Scion, so the one that's on Thrawn is Fair Play. And so your 14 speed on Grand Admiral Thrawn is actually your fastest in your circle set, or circle spot. And then lastly, we're looking at the cross. The cross we're using from Grand Admiral Thrawn, we're not going to use that here, so we're not doing the 16. So your next one is a 10 speed. And you have a 10 speed on R2, and you have a 10 speed on Jedi Training Rey. I would go with the one on Jedi Training Rey because it has some flat protection, which will be good for Thrawn. And then we can go to...
Even though the primary is a potency instead of the protection one that's on a BB-8?
That's true. That is a good call. We could do the R2 one because of the protection. That is a good call.
I do listen.
So we'll go with the R2. So we'll go with the R2 then. And then next we'll look at your... Oh, that is BB-8. I was confused by the blue. I was confused by the blue. I see the blue mod and I think it's R2. Let's try this again. BB-8. There we go. Ha. God. Okay. Hey, Mr. Pennypinch. All right. So next we'll look at your arrow, speed set, speed primary, and I know you have a lot of those. Let's take one and see what protection primary stat you have, or secondary stat. And you actually have a fairly large protection one currently on Enfys. You can put that on your Thrawn. I think that one will work well on your Thrawn. You could also go with the one on Emperor Palpatine. That one is already gold. And so if you're using the character a lot, you can take it to 6C. Thanks, Chrome Cobra. So we'll do the 30 that's on Enfys Nest. That'll give your Thrawn a lot of extra protection. Still a really good survival stat, and Thrawn can actually recover it, so it'll work well for him. Okay.
Alright.
So now we're going to look at everything besides the speed set. So we're just going to keep everything unchecked. We're going to ignore the speed set, and we're just going to start again. So let's start at your square mod. And your square mod, we're using the one on Enfys Nest. We're not doing speed, right? So we're excluding the Nihilus. And so your fastest one is a 13 speed that is on CLS. And that is a critical chance. And then we'll go to your diamond. And we're avoiding speed. And so the next one is a 13 speed on a bunch of, and I'm going to just start calling them R2 mods. It's a bunch of blue mods. And they're all health focused. We used the speed set on Enfys Nest last time, so all of these are available. So we know that it's a 13 speed. It is going to be a health. And in terms of which one would fit onto Thrawn, the CLS
Probably
one.
the one on Vader.
Yeah, CLS or Vader are the ones, so I'm fine with Vader. So we'll put Vader. So Darth Vader. And then we will go to your triangle. And we're using the 21 speed that's on Thrawn, so your next one is 15 speed. And you have a 15 speed, you have 3 15 speeds. 2 offense primaries, 1 critical chance primary, and then all the different kind of stats and stuff. The other ones are also health, right? And the Scion one is offense. So potentially we can do the health ones in order to try and gain that bonus. And then when you kind of compare the Palpatine versus the Darth Nihilus one, the Palpatine one actually has some extra protection. So I'm actually okay with either of them, but I think I would probably go with the Palpatine. Do you feel one way or the other?
No, they're both about the same. So.
Right. Okay.
And this may be one of the ones where we end up grabbing the speed triangle anyway, because it's only going to be 1 speed difference.
Right. Yeah, so we're probably going to end up in that route. So, yeah. So we'll put the Emperor Palpatine one for now. We'll see how it kind of shakes up. We'll go to your circle. Circle, we use the one that's on Scion. And so the next one is a 15 speed that's on Enfys Nest. That's a potency. And then lastly, we go to your cross. And we're not using the one that's on Enfys. We're using one that's on Thrawn. And so your Enfys actually has a 17 speed potency Enfys Nest. Alright. So we have all of your kind of fastest mods. I just put 30 in for the arrow because I'm sure you have it, and we're probably not going to use it. So just putting a 30 for now. If we need to, we can go back and figure out what we need from it. But in your square, the difference is 0. The arrow, the difference is 0. In the diamond, you actually gain 1. In the triangle, you lose 1. In the circle, you lose 1. And in the cross, you lose 7. So if you look at what the differences are, right? The arrow, the square, and the diamond are definitely going to be speed sets. Then you have one of the -2s, right? Or -1 boxes, but we know that the -7, the loss of 7 is a potency. So the question then becomes, what do you want to do in the other spot? Right, do you want a potency property on Thrawn? Does Thrawn have anything that really benefits from potency? So we can take a look at his abilities in general. He doesn't really have a lot, right?
No, he doesn't have anything, actually.
Yeah, so Fracture kind of just goes on its own. The attack actually puts a buff, which isn't really anything on potency. So you don't have to really worry too much about the potency aspect. And so then kind of what you can look at is the triangle mods and what the primary is. And the reason I'm looking there is because the circle, it may be protection, it may be health, Scion, or not, Thrawn can benefit from both. But we're going to look to see what the difference is between the Enfys Nest, which is a critical damage, versus Emperor Palpatine, which is critical chance. And I would say I would not want to waste a critical damage on Thrawn. And so I would like to keep the Emperor Palpatine on Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So in that case, the circle I would do with the speed set, and the triangle I would take from the non-speed set. And so if we then draw the final diagram and breakdown. We'll do the square from Grand Admiral Thrawn. We'll do the arrow from Enfys Nest. We'll do the diamond from Grand Admiral Thrawn. We'll do the triangle from Emperor Palpatine. We'll do the circle from Grand Admiral Thrawn. So the whole left column you don't have to change on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then on the circle, or on the cross, we're going to take Enfys Nest.
So it's not that big a deal that we're not going to get a set bonus on...
No.
On a second set bonus, I mean?
No.
Okay.
You got the speed set bonus. You're not going to worry about the two-piece bonus. Two-piece bonuses are nice to have, don't get me wrong, but the speed is more important on certain characters. Getting your Thrawn to go fast, getting your Enfys to go fast, getting your Rex to go fast. Certain characters, you really need to focus on speed. There's other characters you want fast that maybe you don't need to focus as much on speed. Nihilus is one example. Nihilus is going to gain turn meter when you put debuffs on Scion, right? So you want to get Nihilus fast, but you also don't need to get him super fast, like at the expense of other things. So maybe you want to focus on health. Traya you want to get really fast as well, but she also does a crap ton of damage. So you might want to focus more on offense with her. So different characters you can kind of build a little bit differently. Some of them have a very particular focus. Thrawn and Enfys are two of those. Those ones you really want to focus on the speed aspect. Okay, so we will go back to our overall review slide here. And if we do that, we have Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then if we do the diagram, we have Grand Admiral Thrawn already. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Enfys Nest. Enfys Nest. Emperor Palpatine. So that ends up being our next character that we have modded. So 2 down. Alright, so now let's go to the next one. So if we go back to the list of characters that we're focusing on, right, we have now completed Thrawn and we've completed Nest. So now we have Asajj Ventress, Grandmaster Yoda, and Han. And I think we said we're going to focus on Grandmaster Yoda third because he has speed needs as well. Right? But he's going to be a little bit of a different one since we're focusing him on your raid team.
On a raid, yeah.
So, your goal with him is still going to be... And let me bring up the other sheet. And actually, let me bring up the other sheet and make it full screen while I'm talking about it. So this is the full screen of the mod so far. But what we want to do with your Grandmaster Yoda is we want him to have, hopefully, 100 speed. So now I'm going to go back to our regular drawing here and kind of put our goals as to what we want to try and get with Grandmaster Yoda. So Grandmaster Yoda, ideally, we have critical damage and critical chance with 100 speed bonus.
And actually right now he's running my only crit damage set, complete set that I have.
Oh, okay. So this will be interesting then to see what your Yoda's at. Let's take a look at your Yoda. And he's at 86 speed. That's your only critical damage set?
I think it's my only full set that I have on. I probably have like some random mods floating around. But he was one that I think I have my best speed secondaries with a crit damage set on him. Okay.
So we'll have to look to see if what you want to use him for is viable. So, okay. So because you do need him with about plus 100 speed in order to go fast enough to really make a difference in that phase. And you're not using a speed set, right? So you're losing about 15, 20 different speed. He also needs 2 Zetas. He needs a Zeta on his lead and his special. And
I'll probably do the lead first and then the special. Or I'll do the special first, then the lead.
Okay. So he does have some work that he needs, but we have to see first if we can even get to the mods. So the other thing I want to do before we get there is we need to make note of the characters that we are not going to be taking mods from. Because now this is a Sith Raid character, and it is not a arena character. We're not remodding all of the arena characters. So when you are doing this in-game, hopefully you've modded your entire arena squad, and you created a mod loadout for each of those characters. And then in-game, you can select the little checkbox that says only display mods that are not in a loadout. And so if you modded Nest and you modded Thrawn and you switch all the mods, you create a loadout for them. Now if you click that box, you're not going to get the mods that are on Nest, you're not going to get the mods that are on Thrawn. It helps you kind of filter it out. But since we are not doing it that way, we have a little bit of an extra step. So the characters that we are going to avoid, right? We were going to avoid Nest, but Nest has a little bit of a different thing. So I'm putting a little arrow because we need to double check what we actually assigned to Nest. Same thing with Thrawn. And then we don't want to touch Nihilus, we don't want to touch Scion, and we don't want to touch Emperor Palpatine if we don't have to. Now, some of these mods are already taken, for example, from Emperor Palpatine, from Nest, from Thrawn, but there's not much we can do about it at this point. So we're just going to try and avoid those characters with their mods and see what we can put together for your Yoda. Okay? So we're not going to worry about the critical chance. The critical chance is fine if we can get it. But again, focus is going to be on the 4-piece set. And so that's critical damage. So what we are going to do then is do 2 diagrams again. But what we are doing with the diagrams, let me make these straight because I always make them crooked. There we go. Okay, so what we are doing now is we're doing crit damage with speed secondaries, and the other one is going to be all speed. We're not going to focus necessarily on crit chance, but if we see it, we will mark it off. So,
okay.
We'll start out with the 4-piece again, kind of like we did all the time. So always start out with the 4-piece, and so we're going to do square, critical damage, speed secondary, and let's see what kind of speed secondaries you have, and your fastest one is that 11 that you have on Grandmaster Yoda. Now, I have to say, this is not super high, right? If we're trying to get 100 speed total between 6 mods without a bonus, we have to try and get about 16 speed, roughly, right? On average. You do have the 30 from the arrows, so if we have the remaining 70 on 5 mods, we're looking at about, 14? So, yeah. 11 starts us off kind of low, but let's see if we can kind of make up for it. Let's go to the diamond. And your diamond is a 9. So far, not good. But again, 2 of the mods are not going to be critical damage. I'm also assuming, and we'll have to double check, but I'm assuming you have a 30 speed arrow. So at least that will help. So we have Dachka. Then we'll go to your triangle. And your fastest triangle is an 8 speed on Grandmaster Yoda.
I'm not a big fan of Jawas, so...
Apparently. Then we'll go to your circle. Your circle's a 14, so that gets us a little bit back to the average a little bit. We need a high one in the cross. And in the cross, you have none. Okay. The other thing, which is also of note, and I'm going to go back to your triangle... If we're focusing on, obviously, critical damage, we want to have a critical damage primary. This one is also a protection. So for all intents and purposes, the triangle spot is actually a 0. Because you don't have a critical damage primary. It's one of those spots we have to pay attention to the primary.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be interesting. You're going to have really, really high mods, non-speed, right? Or non-critical damage, sitting up there. So let's start out with your square. We're not taking Enfys Nest. That one is under use. We're not using Nihilus. So potentially you have a 13 speed from Darth Nihilus. And I don't care right now if I'm breaking the... Oh, no. We can't use Nihilus because Nihilus is part of your arena. So we don't have that 13 speed.
We got a 12 speed set that's on JTR.
Yeah. You also have a 13 that's a critical chance on Jedi Luke. Or not Jedi Luke. Yeah, Commander Luke.
Yeah, do have that one too.
Yeah, so I think we'll go with that one. So we're not... We'll still try and avoid breaking up that speed set if possible, right? So you have a 12 speed on CLS. That's a critical chance. Let's now go to your diamond. And again, the diamond, we are using Nest. We are using Thrawn. So your next fastest is a 13 speed. Right? And the 13 speed is on... We're looking for offense in some way, shape, or form. And so if we're looking at some kind of offense in order to deal damage, you're probably looking at Vader with the critical chance.
Alright.
It's a tight one, though. A lot of these are fairly close. You don't have any flat offense on any of the 13 speeds, so the critical chance on Vader is probably your best shot, and that is a health set. Now we're going to go to your triangle. In addition to the speed secondary, we're also going to look for critical damage primary. And we are using the one on Enfys, I think. No, we are not using the one on Enfys. So we have a 14 speed on Enfys Nest, which is a speed set, but that's fine because again we're more focused on the other stats. We'll go to your circle, and we're using the one on Scion. We're using the one on Thrawn, but we're not using the one on Enfys. So we have a 15 speed on Enfys, and that one is a potency. And then lastly, we'll look at your cross mod. And so if we look again at your mods that are completed, we have used the one on Enfys Nest, we have used the one on Grand Admiral Thrawn. Your next one is a 15 speed on Scion.
We weren't going to touch Scion.
Correct. We are not touching
13 speed on CLS.
Oh, and we're also not touching the one on Enfys. Oh, but Enfys we already moved, right? We're replacing that mod on Enfys. I don't know where that mod is going to end up.
The one that's on Enfys now? Yeah, we haven't placed it anywhere.
Yeah, we haven't placed it anywhere. Potentially it'll trickle down to Nihilus or Scion, but for now it's going to trickle down to Yoda. So I'm going to say the Enfys ones are fair game for now. We'll just avoid the ones that we're planning on moving on her. But correct, we're not going to touch Scion. So then the next one is Nihilus, which we can't touch. So then it's CLS at 13.
Which is offense and flat offense, so that works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to do the 13 CLS. And I see the question by All Me. So All Me asks, I'm in Florida. My birthday is in April. Would like to know if the crew is open to volunteer runners for the cause. Yes. We haven't finished all the details, so I do want to caution anyone that's kind of making plans and everything ahead. We are trying very hard to make sure this happens. It is 6 months out, and we're trying to get as much as we can figured out by the end of this month. So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have some announcements for you guys. But yes, I believe we will have everything kind of ready to go by the end of the month, and some announcements, and then we are definitely open to having people kind of join us at the run. And again, it's the half marathon that's happening on Sunday, April 7th. Okay, so if I remove this, right, and now so we have kind of this comparison in terms of what we're looking at speed. So with critical damage, unlike speed, we didn't do it on your other ones because the numbers were so low, but once you get your 4 numbers, so I'm going to go back here to one of these. Once you get your 4 numbers here, you typically want to add them all up, right? So you have +1, +0, +0, -1, a total of 0, and then compare this to the 10% of the base speed, and see if whether or not the speed set is worth it. These numbers are so low that it was automatic. You're looking at it, as long as it's kind of above 9 or so, for the most part, it's always fine. There's a few characters that 10 won't work, but even 10 is fine. 11 is usually fine. Once you hit that 12 range, if you get -12, that's when you'll start hitting trouble. So just to kind of keep that in mind in terms of what you're looking for as you're going through this, 12 is kind of that number that doesn't look good. So we're going to go back to this and we're going to subtract. Now what we're going to do a little bit different from the other one is that we're not going to do that comparison. When you're doing a set like crit damage, obviously you're not gaining the set bonus for extra speed, right, to try and figure out whether or not it's worth it. But what you're trying to do is just figure out what the fastest speed is that you can get with a crit damage bonus. And so we won't do we'll figure out which 4 we want to use using that same strategy, just no additional subtraction or anything. So let me set the crit damage. And you have a single crit damage arrow that's on Yoda.
I really don't like Jawas.
Luckily, you don't need them anymore, so when you get a chance, you can farm them, but yeah.
Slicing, man. It's consuming my life right now.
Trust me, I understand.
And you know, I watched Warrior's video while I was on a conference call today. Not proud of it, but I have to say I somewhat agree with him as far as like the green ones, slicing those. You do get 3 shots at rolling a speed as opposed to a purple.
You get the exact same shots at rolling speed.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of disagree with Warrior. I understand his point. In the end, you save credits, but you do lose a lot of mod energy that you're now spending on slicing. And in the end, you get the exact same number of attempts at rolling up the secondaries. Because no matter what you do, right, when you get to that 5A, those numbers on the left tell you how many chances you had at upgrading a secondary stat. And that number always equals 8. So whether you start at green, whether you start at blue, whether you start at gray, when you get to 5A, you've had the exact same number of chances at leveling up a secondary. And they're all at the exact same percentage of 25%. Again, caveat, assuming CG isn't doing something in the back that tries to skew it one way or the other and gives like less of a chance to speed or something. If that's the case, there's really no way for us to know.
No way to predict it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming even chance for all of it. And if there is an even chance for all of it, it doesn't matter. So, the question is, do you rather spend credits and not have to slice, right? Or do you spend less credits and then have to spend more time slicing, which then uses mod energy? And to me, the mod energy is more precious than just the credits, because the credits you can come across fairly quickly. And there's only so many mods that you're going to be buying from the mod store anyways. So me personally, I wouldn't touch green mods. Not from the store.
Are you only touching the blue? So. Are you only touching... Oh, I'm not buying them. I'm saying existing green mods that I already have.
If you have So there is a difference between the existing ones, the ones that you had before mods 2.0 that had the 100% chance roll at the beginning, versus the new green mods.
Yeah, sorry. I did what you guys said back before mods 2.0.
You got the 100% roll.
Rolled all my greens.
Gotcha.
Rolled everything at least to get all the secondary stats showing.
In that case, yes.
Maximized the opportunity to get, sliced green mods and blue mods.
Correct. Yeah. So in that case, you actually do benefit from the green mods. But Warrior, I believe, and that's why I kind of asked him on Jedi Academy, and so I just disagree with him, but I mean, people can disagree on things. He was also, I believe, speaking as to the current green mods as well, saying that they were a good thing to buy. And that's just something I disagree with. I don't think the current green mods are worth it. You still get 3 slices on them. If you're leveling up your old green mods, that's fine, but I wouldn't buy the new ones.
No, I've been limiting my purchases to purples and golds.
Exactly. I wouldn't go below purples. Blue is a very, very close, maybe, because they're now giving us so much salvage material that you may have enough in order to salvage a blue, for example, up to a purple. And then so you may just want to get a blue and kind of use up some of those additional salvage pieces. So there's a chance you could do something like that. Same thing with greens. The only ones that are isolated materials are the ones to go from 5A to 6E. Those are the only ones where the mod materials are only for that particular one. Everything else has an overlapping material. So the one to go from gray to green also is used from green to blue. The other mod used from green to blue is also used in blue to purple, and then kind of down the line. So
yeah.
You can always end up with kind of an excess number of mods and kind of be able to do that. So in total, you have plus 91 speed from your crit damage set.
So we're close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be worth it for you. And I see what you wrote. What else? Yeah, you can alternate, but again, it depends on where you are with your mods, right? I still have a lot of mods that have over plus 12 secondary speed. And so I'm not going to be farming mods for a long time. But if you don't have that, then you definitely want to farm mods from challenges. I don't think farming mod challenges is bad, but it depends on where you are in the game and how much benefit you get from that. You really need to be in a point where you need a lot of mods. Otherwise, buying them from the store is just more effective, considering how much it takes in order to actually slice a mod. It's pretty hefty. So, getting back to your Grandmaster Yoda, kind of up to you what you want to do. He's close. I know you don't like Jawas.
And I will say, I've done the mod challenges a couple of days. I've farmed mods, and the drop rates have been horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what I'll do is I'll keep my eye out for crit damage mods that already are showing a speed secondary, and if I see something come through,
yeah,
I'll add some more to it.
Yeah. So I think what we want to do with your Grandmaster Yoda is... Interesting. You are in a very interesting position here with your mods. You have me torn, sir.
Well, I mean, it can't make it easy on you.
So
you know what else gets torn?
And there's Ranger, ready to ruin everything.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Nothing. Okay, so here is what I'm thinking.
The hell with you too, Finn.
So here's what I'm thinking. You have a few mods here that are going to be fairly easy to upgrade, I think, as you do slicing. If you work on any kind of critical damage, right, your diamond is going to be upgradable, right? With the 9, I think you can get a critical damage diamond that'll be better. Your 11, I think you can also upgrade and get something a little bit better there. And just by farming, getting some of these mods in general and slicing what you have, I think you can improve this 13, which is a non-specific mod set.
Okay.
So with that, and the fact that the purpose of this Grandmaster Yoda is a cleanup team on Phase 1. It is not your primary team. It is a cleanup team on Phase 1 with the potential of being able to upgrade 3 of these mods. And then I think you'd be able to get over 100. I would say we stick with your crit damage. I think that's how I would go with your mods, based on your current situation.
That works.
Okay.
Do we have a link to his GG page anywhere, Finn?
Yeah, I can post it for you.
Where?
Hold on. Give me a second. I'll put it in our admin's chat.
Okay. It's shaking back, and I'm helping.
Hero was thinking Ranger wasn't going to show up, even though he said he was in the lunch stream. And then I was going to give him flack for it tomorrow night and make him do the Bill Clinton voice when he did the shout-outs.
Listen here, Spaceman Tim. Don't underestimate the power of Bubba.
Hey now, Bubba, you need to listen here. You ain't gonna take that home with me.
Well, that's what we say in Arkansas.
Okay. So we are loading up with your critical damage set here. So we have critical damage here, Grandmaster Yoda. We're going to go with Enfys Nest and CLS. So this is going to be your mod set for your Grandmaster Yoda. It'll only be plus 91 speed. You're going to be looking to upgrade the square, the diamond, and the cross. Okay?
All right.
So let me...
When it gets bigger, I'll read it and know where you took the mods from again.
Yeah, I'm going to make it full screen here in a second, so I'm going to write it Grandmaster Yoda. And let me draw the little diagram here. And we're going Grandmaster Yoda. And then this is also Grandmaster Yoda. Grandmaster Yoda. This one is...
Oh, found them you have.
Dachka, Enfys Nest, and CLS. No, that's not what I want to do. There we go. CLS. Alright, so let me remove this. Oh, wrong one. Remove that. And then let me switch it to full screen here. Okay. So it should load up on the stream here in a second. And so this would be your Grandmaster Yoda mods. It is crit damage based. So this one was speed based. This is speed based. This is critical damage based. And I'm putting arrows at the mods that we're going to target to upgrade as soon as possible in order to increase your speed.
Your handwriting is very doctorish, Finn.
Well, thank you. It's also very difficult to write clearly with the... It's better than the mouse, but I mean, I'm still trying to get used to writing with the tablet thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that gets us with Grandmaster Yoda, right? So the next one we're looking at is Asajj. Asajj is going to be pretty much modding the same way as we're doing Grandmaster Yoda. We're going to try and get some speed on her. But the one thing we don't need to worry about is getting her super, super fast, because she's going to be gaining turn meter as part of the whole, with her leader ability and the whole Night Sister thing. And so with her, what I want to do is do a search of your speed and your... Oh, but the problem is you don't have any... Okay, so we're definitely not going to be using a critical damage arrow. You make this very interesting. Okay. You really are making this not easy. Okay. So, we will, again, look for a critical damage set. Alright, so we're looking at Asajj Ventress now. And we're looking for critical damage. But Asajj Ventress, we're looking for some speed, but we're mainly looking for offense and damage. So we're going to try and optimize as much damage as we can for her.
I think you'll probably have better luck with an offense set.
Okay.
I have better offensive sets. I think I have my best. I might be using them on Great Han and Scion.
How dare you?
But I would try offense first.
So with the upgrades...
Wait, Scion?
With the upgrades, right, to 6E and everything, offense is definitely a viable one. So we'll also look at offense set, and then we'll look at the other ones. So both of them are pretty viable now, so we can look at both. Hermit Yoda, you do want to go with critical damage just because it works better, but for Asajj, yeah, we can look at both. Especially since he kind of multiplies her offense. So, let's start out with critical damage. And we're going to do speed and flat offense as the two things we are looking at. Okay, and you have a 5 speed... No, did I click defense? No, what the... Oh, it's because you don't have any. Okay, so you have no...
I told you, I don't like the Jawas, man.
You don't have any Jawas. Okay, we're just going to go straight to offense then. Forget it. Your critical damage is not...
Little.
God.
What do you mean you don't have any Jawas?
He didn't do the Jawas before
I
the thing, so he
farmed
never
all
did the
5
challenge.
So
Well, he can go do them right now. What in the hell's going on in here?
So
slicing, man, slicing.
Yes, it's important to slice if you don't have any mods of the set that you need to. Stop it.
So your best offense square is the one on Han Solo. It has 9 speed and 62 offense. I see another 9 speed, but it doesn't have any offense. There's another 12 speed, no offense, 10 speed, no offense. So we do want to focus on offense. You have a 66 offense, which is more than the 62, but no speed. So we're going to try and get a little bit of balance here to Asajj. So the next thing we'll look at is the diamond. Oh, and I didn't write who that was on. So that way we can...
That's off Raid Han.
Yeah, it's Raid Han. So let me write Raid Han. We're going to remod him anyways, so... Okay. So let's go back to your diamond. Okay. So your diamond, you have 104 offense, but no speed. I don't see a speed until your 61 offense. Yeah. So I would actually, it's a drop, but I would go with your 5 speed, 61 offense on Resistance Trooper. So you don't need a lot of speed on Asajj, but you do want to try and get some speed on her. Because if she's too slow, then she's not going to be recovering as quickly. Because they are gaining turn meter, but they're only gaining 50%, right? So you still have to worry about getting that 50% back quickly. Depends on how fast the other characters are going, and so you don't want to lose too much. We can go to the triangle next. And with the triangle, we do want to try and get a critical damage primary. So let's see if you have one. You have critical damage, but you don't have any with critical damage and flat. But you do have, let's see. So the one on Scion we were already using, so we can't use that one. You have the one on Resistance Trooper, which is 35 offense, but instead of that, we could get the one on Qui-Gon that has 36, and it has a chance to roll again. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the one on Qui-Gon. What about you?
What about the one on Boba Fett?
So Boba Fett, it has 10 speed, it has critical damage, it doesn't have any flat offense, so we can definitely speed her up. The 25 offense isn't a lot, so yeah, I'm fine with going with a little bit more speed and going with Boba.
Well, because we've been kind of picking ones that have more flat offense for the other spots, so if speed's important, grab that one off of Boba.
Okay. I am fine with that decision. Okay, and then we can go to your circle. Okay, so again, looking at your speed, you have a 90 offense and 8 speed on Han. So that's going to be definitely one that you're going to want to take. That one's a little bit easier. This one's on Han. And then we're going to look at your cross, and we're going to try and get an offense primary if we can on it. And you have one actually on Grievous, of all things.
Well, some of them I just kind of threw on there so I could see them all in GG.
It's actually a gray mod too, so it has actually 4 slices to it that you can get. I don't know if you want to slice a gray mod. We may not even end up using it because we'll go through here and figure it out. But yeah, you have the one on Grievous. So that's interesting. And then we'll look at your offense arrow. See what you have available. And you do have some, so that's good. And you have a 42 on... Is that Veers or that's Stark? Yeah. So we have a 30 with 42 on Stark. Okay, so we have your offense ones kind of figured out. So now we'll do the same thing with all sets. And we can just start with the arrow. We're ignoring Nihilus. We can look at CLS. So CLS has a 74. That's a critical chance. So that is a good set. So critical chance, and that's on CLS. And now we can go to your square. We're going to go down the left column and then come up on the right. You have nothing with speed and offense on your... Oh, because I put primary. That's why. It's a good thing you don't have any speed primaries on a square. I'd be concerned. Okay. So...
I got special.
You have a 5 speed with 102 offense on Barris. You also have a 3 speed 110, but you can gain 2 more speed here. I think the trade-off is fine there. Get her a little bit faster. So 5 speed, 102. It's a potency, and it's on Barris.
More dots.
More dots. Okay. Then we're going to go to your diamond. Okay. You have 110 that doesn't have anything, but you do have a 109 that has 4 speed. And that is definitely better than your 5 speed 61 here. And so then next we will go to your circle. Again, working down the left column first, and then we'll come up the right. You have... So it looks like your Han is still the best one there, with 8 speed and 90. So I'm just going to write that this one is still going to be your Han. And we can overlap on this one since they're not really eating up any other sets that we're too concerned about. Then we'll go to your cross. And again, we're going to look for offense primary. And if we look for offense primary, you have a 4 speed with 56 offense on your Death Trooper. The Grievous one is actually a little bit better, so the question is, well, we'll write down this anyways, but if you're going to level up that, slice up that mod at all.
I can see if I can slice it right.
It's up to you. It's a gray, it's a kind of a risk, but yeah. And then lastly, we'll go to your triangle, and triangle we're looking at the critical damage primary, and we use the Enfys Nest. Oh, you have a nice one on Talia with 10 speed. So you have 10 speed with 38 on Talia. And that is Tenacity set. Oh, and I didn't write what Death Trooper was.
I sliced that gray mod because I happen to have enough. Of course, it's slice defense.
Slice defense on the first one? Okay.
Yep.
No, I'm looking for the cross. That's why. So I'll show it up. Okay, and Death Troopers is a health set. And then what was the diamond? I forgot to write the set on that one too.
Who'd you get it from?
Ray is a speed set. Ray and a speed set. Okay. So we have all the mods now. We're going to repurpose this diagram as the subtraction one. And so what we're going to do is kind of subtract from both of them in terms of what we're losing and gaining from everything, right? So if we were going to do the offense minus the other, so you're actually gaining 4 speed, but you're losing 40 offense. This one you're losing 0 speed, and you're losing 32. I think that's a 9. I'm going to double check. I'm pretty sure that's a 9. Sometimes I can't read my own writing.
That's not good, Doctor.
It's a 74. It's because of this
Dr.
pad.
failed again.
Yeah, I know. It's because of this pad. I blame the pad. I blame the pad. Blame the pad.
Yeah, it's the pad's fault that you have sucky handwriting.
It is. Ah.
It's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between 40 milligrams of morphine and 90 milligrams of morphine?
Hey. One makes you feel better. Okay, so then you have 61 and 109. So the difference there is 48. And then we have 0 and negative 38. And this is a negative also. Then we have 0, 0, so we'll definitely use the one from Han. And then we have 1 speed gain and negative 20 on the offense loss. So we can kind of look around here and figure out what we want to use for the speed, right? So we're kind of comparing speed gain versus the offense loss and seeing which one provides us kind of the biggest balance of what we're looking for. So in terms of the offense, right, this one we know for sure the circle is going to come from Han. Because that one was the best one, both speed and offense-wise. There's another one that we know that we're not, I think, going to do anything with the offense set. Actually, 2 of them. And it's the arrow and it's the triangle. And that's because the speed is the same, but we're gaining some additional offense. At least in the other ones, we're gaining the speeds in the other spots, right? So if we look at the other 4 spots as the ones that we're going to do the offense from, then where we're getting these mods from is Han, we're getting the square, Resistance Trooper, the diamond, Han, the circle, we'll get CLS for the arrow, Talia, and then General Grievous. Does that make sense, kind of how I got to this point?
Yeah.
And so you will have some slicing to do, especially on the Grievous mod, because I think you said you just got it to a green, right? So there's still slices to go yet to make it better in some of the other mods. But in total, right, you're going to gain, let's see, now Asajj is going to have 9, 5, 8, 30, 10, and 5. And so in total, Asajj is going to have 30 plus 10 plus 5 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8. So it's going to have plus 67 speed, right? So it's not the best speed that you can get in Asajj, partly because obviously you want to have better secondary speeds, but you don't have a lot of secondary speeds with that offense secondary there in order to help boost damage. But in terms of your additional damage now, in terms of flat, you're gaining 62, 61, 90, 74, 38, and 36. So you're gaining 361 additional offense. And if we go to your GG page, and I'm going to have to open a different one. So let me add a new source here so it doesn't remove your GG page. There we go. Okay, so if I remove that and we go to Asajj, right? If we look at her basic, her multiplier is almost 2.5, which means that the 361 plus offense is adding just about 800 plus damage to her basic. And that's also going to then just keep on multiplying, as you get your offense over and over again with the 15%. Her special with her AoE has a 1.3 multiplier, so this one's only adding about 500 or so on her special. But it's not bad, right? You're adding extra damage, and over time it's going to multiply, especially in Phase 3. So we're not focusing this on Arena, we're focusing this on Heroic Sith. And so this is why we always mention, like, there's some things that are PvE oriented, some things that are PvP oriented. It's important to make sure you make that distinction, because how you mod, what the purposes are. Speed is not as important in PvE as it is in PvP. So all those little things will matter. Okay?
Yep, still with you.
All right, so I'm going to go back to, let me full screen this, and let's add your Asajj Ventress information. Okay, so we're adding now your Asajj information, and so we're getting from Han, Resistance Trooper, Han, General Grievous, Talia, and CLS. Boom. And this one is a mix of offense and speed. All right.
Yep.
And now we get to the last one. Good old Han Solo. So, Han Solo... God. Han Solo ends up being an interesting one. You need Han to be relatively slow for Phase 3. And the reason is you're trying to get a particular order of events. I'm going to write out kind of the general idea. So you have Solo go first, right? And he attacks a lightsaber. The lightsaber will usually not die unless you get a really, really high offense, and we'll look to see what you have. But you're trying to get really, really high damage and almost knock it out. More likely than not, the next thing to go will be the lightsabers. So the lightsabers will go, and then they'll attack. You need to make sure that Solo doesn't get a debuff on him. Otherwise, if he gets a debuff on him, then he's not going to get tenacity up from Chirrut. So he's pretty much the one character you don't want to get debuffs on. Then, more likely than not, your CLS is going to go. And your CLS can then kill the additional lightsaber. Then you're looking at Chirrut, who can then put tenacity up. Then you're looking at Pow, who can then go and put offense. Then you're looking at Traya going, and when Traya goes, you have to watch for the isolate. And as long as the isolate is not on Han and no character dies as a result of her isolate followed by her saber attack, you're good to go. Then by this time, a lightsaber has to die, so that it's Death Trooper, and then it's Solo. So notice how many things are going in between the first Solo automatic turn and when Solo is going again. Right? So part of this is you need a really slow Han Solo. As little speed as possible. So for him, we are actually trying to avoid speed in order to keep his speed low. The other characters, we are looking at the potential of trying to get some speed on them with offense in order to have them basically ready to go, right? So we need them to reach particular speeds. There is that Reddit post, and let me post it in the YouTube chat here because it's one that I always reference, and it's a really good one. It gives you an idea of the speeds that you're targeting. And so, in general, the speeds that you're targeting with Solo is it's going to be he's going to be as slow as possible. You're looking at somewhere around 136 or so. Like, you're going to try and get him really slow. 136. I wouldn't go over 140 if you can. But you're looking anywhere 136 to about 180. Death Trooper needs to be just faster than Solo. Right? So he needs to be faster than whatever the Solo speed is. CLS, Chirrut, and Pow, you're looking at trying to get to around 181. And so this will end up kind of matching all of the times of all of the NPCs and all of that. But Solo, Death Trooper does need to be higher than Solo and less than 180. Because if you don't do it less than 180, he's actually going to go before Traya, and you need him to go after Traya. So Death Trooper, greater than Solo, less than 180. Solo has to be less than 180, essentially. So I'm going to put 179 here, just to clarify. But he needs to be slower, and ideally he's much, much slower. Okay? So, so far with all that speed stuff?
Yep.
Okay. So, let's go to your roster, and let's take a look at your Han Solo. And if we take a look at your Han Solo has 167 speed with 31 from mods. So he has a 136 speed, right? So we really want to make sure that we get as little speed on him as we can. Your Han is at a good speed right now at 136, so we're not going to try and speed him up at all. So what we're going to now search for is straight offense. We don't have to do anything but a straight offense hunt for your Han Solo. So we'll start out with the offense set, and then we'll do non-offense set. All of your other characters, by the way, you want that too. And here's the unfortunate thing. You ideally do want to get critical damage. Do you have any critical damage arrows that are... You have a defense one. You don't have an offensive one. So Han, you ideally do want to get critical damage set. So we do have to take a look at that. All the other characters, you're looking at offense in order to get more with the standalone. So let's start with critical damage for Han, and we'll see what you have, and then we can adjust to offense if we need be. But Han is one of those that you really do want critical damage instead of offense. So if we do the square, critical damage, flat offense, you have none.
There's going to be a lot of disappointment in the crit damage area.
You know what? I'm just not going to put any shapes. Let's just see what offense primaries you have. You have a total of 2. God, there's a lot of disappointment. Okay, so we are going to then have to focus on offense, just because you don't have any really. Okay.
I can hear Ranger sighing in the background. He's disappointed in me.
No, I was looking at porn.
Oh, well, that's nice of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with the square.
I'm just kind of letting Finn do his thing. You know what I'm saying? When the mad scientist is kind of going around, I'm just looking at your stuff. Looks pretty good, and just, you let the mad scientist do what he does.
Well, I did listen to you guys after my roster review, and I did switch my arena team over to what you suggested once I got everyone up to gear 12.
Mm-hmm.
It does work a lot better. I have to give you guys credit. That's a lot more fun, too.
Yeah, we may be stupid, but we're stupid. You should listen to what we say.
Sometimes.
I did. You're like that smart. No. You're that special kind of stupid. That's smart.
That's
a lie. Okay, so your square, you have a 66 offense on your resistance trooper. On your diamond, you have a 104 offense on your Han. And I'm just going down the left first because we're going to have to focus on primaries as we go down the right side. So on the left, again, going to your circle, your fastest offense set one is a 90 offense, but we are using that in the set that we just created for your Asajj. And so your next one is going to be your 84. That's again on General Grievous of all things. A lot of General Grievous
Again,
mods.
I just threw mods on.
I know. He just happens to have those mods. Okay. So then next, we're going to go to your cross mod. I'm not going to put it, but we're going to look for offense primary. And it's the one on Grievous, but we already set that aside, right? So you don't have any that have an offense primary in the offense set, which is not the greatest thing. So I'm going to put a 0/128 because that's what you have on your Han Solo. You have 128 flat offense, which is nice, if only that had offense primary. Then we're going to go to your triangle. In triangle, we need to get critical damage. And you have the one that has a 25 offense. And that's on Qui-Gon Jinn. This one's on Solo. And then we're going to go to your arrow. And arrow, we're looking for offense primary. Hopefully you have some. And you have none. Okay, so you also have no offense primary on arrows. So, just looking at this, there's probably 2 spots that I'm pretty sure we're going to end up replacing immediately. So I'm going to remove the offense set. Let's see what offense primary, offense secondary arrows you have. You do have one already on Han. 128 flat offense, which is nice, if only that had offense primary. Then we're going to go to your triangle. In triangle, we need to get critical damage. And you have the one that has a 25 offense. And that's on Qui-Gon Jinn. So then we're going to go to your arrow. And arrow, we're looking for offense primary on arrows. So just looking at this, there's probably 2 spots that I'm pretty sure we're going to end up replacing immediately. So I'm going to remove the offense set. Let's see what offense primary, offense secondary arrows you have. You do have one already on Han. So the one that you have on Han is 5.88 with a 78 offense secondary, right? So that's probably the one that you're going to end up using. And then we're also going to go to your cross and do the same thing. Offense primary, offense secondary. You have one on Death Trooper that has 56. That has the 5.88. And it has 56 offense. Now, one of the things I'm noting is that you do have a 128 offense on your solo already that doesn't have the percentage. So I'm also going to take a look at your triangle and see if you have any critical damage triangle that has like a really high offense secondary, just to see if maybe we can still utilize that, but you don't. So we're going to be with your Death Trooper and your Han Solo here. So for your solo, you're going to get your square from Resistance Trooper, your diamond from Solo, your circle from General Grievous, your cross from Death Trooper, your triangle from Qui-Gon Jinn, and your arrow from Solo. And in total, you're looking at, let's see, so we have, and this will be kind of a rough calculation because it's going to be slightly off, but we'll have 66, 104, 84, then you're going to have 25, 56, plus 78, so you're going to get plus 413 flat offense. But then you also have two 5.88 primaries. There's also some secondaries that are in there, but I'm not going to include those. I'm just going to look at the primaries because it's a little bit easier to focus on. So if I go to your characters and I click on your Han, your base physical damage is currently 3707 minus 1211, so just about 2500. I'm just going to keep it round numbers here to simplify. And so, if I then do 2,500 times, what is it, 1.1196, you're going to gain an additional 300 from the primaries. So you're up to 713. And then you're also going to gain the set bonus, right? So offense set bonus, which is, what did they increase it to? It's 15% now?
15.
Yeah, so 15%. So now we're looking at 15% of 2,500. So that's adding another 375. And so, let's see, 375 plus 713.
1088.
So 1088, yeah. And your current one has a little bit more plus offense, right? But now you're also not just looking for plus offense, you're also looking for the critical damage, right? So your current Han has 1200. This one is going down to 1088, but you're also gaining that critical damage triangle, which is going to add more damage on your crits. So overall, while your physical damage may go down just slightly, you're going to have more damage overall in there. And again, we ideally want to switch all of these to critical damage mods with high offense secondaries, but if you don't have them, then there's not much you can do about it. So with what you have, this is probably going to give you your best mod layout. And so if we're looking at Han Solo, and we're doing the mods, and let me make this kind of full screen so you can see all the chicken scratch in its glory. We're going to take the square from Resistance Trooper, diamond from Solo, arrow from Solo. I'm going to take the... no. There we go. Good. I almost did it in the wrong layer. There we go. Okay, now I'm in the right layer. Okay, let's try this again. Han Solo. There we go. Resistance Trooper, Solo, Solo, Qui-Gon, Death Trooper, and General Grievous. And let's remove the chicken scratch layer, and there we go. And ideally, again, I'm going to make a note here. We did critical damage, but because we didn't have it, we focused on offense. And all of it is secondary offense is what we're looking for.
So I guess I need to start farming crit damage mods.
They are very useful. Yeah, I mean, if you want to continue slicing, again, I'm not opposed to you slicing, but yeah. What happened?
I had to go AFK. I'm be right back.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so there you go.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't make it as easy on yesterday's.
It was definitely because you don't have a lot of mods, right? And I'm sure you're not the only one in this kind of situation. So yeah. So I think you're okay. The biggest thing is that we did have to try and figure out a way around the critical damage aspect of this. So we're focusing on offense, but ideally you get more critical damage stuff.
You get better production out of the crit damage mods instead of the offense mods.
Yeah, for specific characters, right? The ones that will get the critical chance, the ones that will be able to take advantage of it. Asajj is one, Han Solo is another. As you start to progress, you'll be able to do better.
Yeah, and I guess I focused on offense mods, thinking offense mod sets were a better way to go than crit damage sets. So
right.
I farmed those instead.
All right. Any other questions, sir?
No, I may donate $25 more and make you have to do 5 more characters though, just for fun.
I'm open to it. Again, if you guys aren't sure what he's talking about and you're just joining us, we're trying to raise money to go to Orlando for a charity run. So we have a GoFundMe that's linked in the YouTube description. And if you guys are so inclined, if you donate $25, I will remod 5 characters for you. Again, it's not necessary. It's up to you if you want to. I leave that option for you. I know some people don't necessarily want anything, so it's up to you guys. But if you do donate $25 to the GoFundMe to help us travel, I will help you remod 5 of your characters. So yeah, there you go.
And if you donate $800, he'll remod your entire roster.
That is how the math works out. Yeah, math is a funny thing.
Well, Finn, thank you. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So, with that, thank you all for joining me. And thank you again to Spaceman Tim for supporting us here. I am Finity with Reality Skewed Gamers signing out. I'm going to go grab some dinner, do some territory war prep, and then we have another stream at 8 o'clock. So hopefully you guys can join us there in about 2 hours or so. So with that, I'm signing out. Thanks, everyone.